Mbappé didn't train today. Supposedly just because of this, I think, and as a precaution, because of that cut above his eyebrow, after taking an elbow from Girona's Vita race in one of the biggest scandals I recall, and now look at today. Oh my, welcome Madridistas. I hope you have a good Sunday, an unusual weekend, because Madrid played on Friday. Well, yesterday we already saw how the league slipped away from us a little more. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that anymore because we're going to talk about it in the morning video. But yes, we keep remembering because it still lingers. How could it not? Of course it does. For me, I insist it's one of the biggest scandals we've seen in recent years, and we've had all kinds. But this thing about hiding footage, again, well, if Madrid goes all out, I said it in one of my videos 2 or 3 videos ago, if Madrid goes all out, here it can shake things up, stir the pot a little, because, and it already did at that time, it's true that the issue was very serious, right? That red card for Vinicius at Mestalla, and then not sports justice, but the ordinary courts. A court determined that there was image theft there, concealment of images in the VAR, and not only to Real Madrid, but also to Espanyol at the end of the 2022 to 2023 season. And I think that if Madrid makes that move again, then something similar could happen. Because it's clear that, and we'll find out or not, those images were stolen from the people who were in the VR. Although with Trujillo Suarez, well, anything is possible. Maybe he did see them. We don't know the truth and didn't see it. La Liga defended itself yesterday by saying there wasn't a clear angle. Remember yesterday when I said I wouldn't include this in the video? Well, I'll take the chance now. Yesterday I mentioned I don't believe it because there are so many cameras on the field at a stadium like the Bernabeu. These are all the cameras in a typical broadcast. La Liga claims there wasn't a clear angle, but you think, come on, because some have compared it to Lamine Yamal's ghost goal 2 seasons ago. One thing is a ball in a nanosecond, a ball that you don't know if it crosses or not, and you have to freeze the image and so on. There was no goal line technology because Tebas said it wasn't needed. He increased his own salary, sabotaged VAR for a raise, and to avoid goal line technology. People discussed this back then, so some still insist on it today. I don't respond, but I maintain it was just a nanosecond at a specific moment and spot on the field. And this is Mbappé bleeding for quite a while, and a situation where you have at least 30 seconds to find that image of Mbappé. Nobody believes it. Let's go back to what we were talking about and to one of the images of the day that caused this, Mbappé. Mbappé, even though he missed this Real Madrid training session, isn't in doubt for Munich. So, well, there will be time to talk about Wednesday's match later, but I want to relate this to situations where Madrid, well, yes, Real Madrid, let's just talk about Real Madrid. Although there have been other cases, footage has been hidden by the production team, and also in a couple of them, I can be proud because we were on beIN Sports. In one of them, the one with Pichu Cuellar and Luis Suarez, we intervened there. We intervened decisively because, of course, everyone quickly started talking about us. Hey, in the United States, they have the footage that would make it clear. And the VAR officials didn't see this, that Luis Suarez's foul on the Leganés goalkeeper would have invalidated that goal. And there was already VAR back then, right? And then there's another one, which I'll tell you about now, and we're going to do it thanks to footballgate.com, their X account. And they also have a YouTube channel. By the way, that's just priceless because they've been doing an amazing job for a long time. Those situations since VAR was introduced in recent years have been unbelievable, huh? Unbelievable. But before Pablo Fernandez apologized in his own way, and there was Felipe del Campo on Estudio Estadio. Keep in mind, this guy is a refereeing analyst for Teledeporte and is paid by the Spanish Public Treasury. This guy still hasn't deleted the tweet where he said that Mbappé was faking and that VAR didn't fall for his trick, that he was pretending. He hasn't deleted it yet and now tries to explain. Listen to his explanation.
A game where, for a moment, you forget, and the people at home do too. Forget about the image we see, the one we have after Mbappé, that image with that gash on his face, that blood on his...
Why do we have to forget?
Well, Felipe del Campo, as I already told you, Felipe, and one final thought. How can you have this professional still working there, thinking these things and not deleting that tweet? Honestly, I don't like doing this. I've never done it before. But the situation has reached such a point that obviously they're making fun of us. There are activists here. There are activists in the media who are supporting this narrative that's alternative to reality. And enough of us staying silent already. Enough is enough. I took the liberty, since I know Felipe because he was my boss many years ago at La Sexta, to address him directly. The only thing he replied was, well, that's what he thinks. I don't think that. That's fine. He's one of his employees. He thinks that he doesn't, they don't agree, but I insist it can't be. It's just that this can't be, that a guy who turns his back on reality like this keeps working, especially in a place like this. And he's also on the radio. Here from the field, he asks, why should we forget that this guy bleeds? Well, at least he challenges him properly and all that, and he's playing the role here of opposing him logically. Otherwise, what he's saying and what the other guy is saying would seem unbelievable. Still, many of you might say his boss should make sure he never returns here, right? Which I absolutely agree with. And I insist, I always say that I don't want people to lose their jobs and all that, but there are situations and situations. Well, he continued.
Why are you cutting that? Why?
Why do I remove this information or this circumstance from the equation? Because if we remove it, because I honestly, and being honest and with my hand on the fire, Felipe, I see all the images, all the shots that
With my hand on the fire, I mean, now with my hand on my heart, but anyway.
The feed shows us, and I don't think it's a penalty. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I don't see Vitor Reis moving his arm toward Mbappé or trying to hit him. I don't think so. I can barely even see the contact. Felipe, let me finish. I can barely even see the contact. Yeah, it looks like just a brush.
I think it's unbelievable. I can barely see the contact. It just looks like a brush. When it hits him directly, absolutely, it hits him right in the face. But how is it possible that an officiating analyst keeps saying this a day later?
I repeat, okay, without knowing about that image of Mbappé bleeding.
But you don't need to see the blood to know he hit him directly. So what is he saying?
Felipe, I have to be honest, it seems like he's exaggerating or faking it. I saw these images yesterday.
But tell me, Pablo, does that seem right to you? Look at the Girona player's arm. Is Mbappé exaggerating?
They're watching the image, the video at that moment. We can't show it.
Felipe, with this magnifying glass, you can see it clearly. But last night, we didn't have it.
That's incredible. We all saw it then, right? We may not have seen the blood, but we didn't need to.
Last night, I saw the images and thought, another one from Mbappé. I promise I thought this during the live broadcast.
Then they play with that, another from Mbappé, who always dives, and Vinicius, who also always dives. He once posted that since Vinicius always dives, the referee here isn't fooled because they already know him. Honestly, it's unbelievable. In what rule book is that? In what rule book does it say that a referee makes a decision about whether it's a penalty or not, a foul or not, because he knows a player dives or not? Where is that in the rule book?
Again, he throws himself to the ground trying to force a penalty. Watching live, I didn't see Vitor Reis move his arm back or make contact. It looks like he barely touches him. I just don't see the penalty, Felipe.
What a mess for Felipe as the director of Teledeport, because I think that's what he is, right? What a mess. This guy saying that, I mean, well, of course, anyway, that's it. Maybe they're friends. He probably feels sorry for him, right? Yet there he is, this guy sharing his opinion as a referee analyst. Unbelievable. Well, sorry for bringing Pable here. Let's get to this, which is a thread. It's not that long from footballgate.com, which is really good. Wrong VAR decisions due to lack of footage or images, crucial real-time footage. Later, images came to light that could have changed the decision-making and the outcome. This is the claim. Well, December 2018, I didn't remember this one. Look, Dembele's offside. The journalist Isaac Fudo explained what happened like this. VAR did not intervene because it did not receive a clear image at the moment when it had to determine the offside. I didn't even remember this, okay? This is the play where, of course, Dembele apparently receives the ball again here, and yes, he is offside. Okay, this is what Isaac Fudo says. And it turns out that my colleague at BN Sports, Nacho Garcia, back then, man, I didn't remember at all. He posted this tweet, December 2018, right? The thing with Luis Suarez and Pichu Cuellar will be about a month and a half later, right? Careful, they were already doing some real crazy things here when VAR was introduced from the broadcast because they would cut footage and hide camera angles. Nacho was saying here, according to these images we have from BN Sports, there would be an offside by Dembele in Piqué's goal before he crossed from the right. The main question is whether Busquets or Gaspar touched it. I think Sergio did. Well, that's one. January 2019, this was at the end of January. I remember perfectly, of course I do. Because, oh my, what happened back then? What back then? What?
Marca un gol tras un choque con el portero.
Later, some images are shown that leave no doubt about the Uruguayan's foul. This was the play. And this was the moment of contact. But no, look, because of course, well, he catches him in the eye with his knee. He could, seriously injure the Leganes goalkeeper, right? The thing is, there was an even more striking image than that one when it came to determining whether Luis Suarez first touched Pichu Cuellar's hand, his glove, or the ball with his foot, not yet with his knee. Whether the first contact was foot to hand or foot to ball, and it was foot to hand. That's why I said it, because also Monica Marchante asked me, she said, Miguel, did you have those images at the time? And I told her, Monica, yesterday's time here in the United States, 10:23 and 35 seconds. Seconds in Spain, when we received at beIN Sports, the replay that you discovered today in Spain, it's the clean feed. All the broadcasters with rights should have it. The broadcast cuts the replay before Suarez's foul. It wasn't 10 minutes. It was immediate. The broadcast, which was supposedly what the VAR was watching after that shot by Messi, cuts off right before it becomes clear. Luis Suarez's foot hit Pichu Cuellar's glove before touching the ball. That's where they cut it. However, for us, and a colleague of mine named, well, and then you could see he was the one who was supposed to score. He saw it from my point of view. He says, Miguel, we have to talk about this. Josue, a genius who was there in the production studio at beIN Sports, told me, Miguel, look at this. This is in the production feed. There in Spain, they cut it. We have the clean feed, and that's when we see it. We cut it and we broadcast it. Plus, the league starts bothering us, saying that we posted images on social media that we shouldn't have and so on. Well, we had that copyright mess and all because I posted it on my account. I posted this video on my account, and of course, then the league comes at us with the complaint. Even my bosses at beIN Sports said, Miguel, look what the league told us. I told them we're also exposing a scam. No, we understand you perfectly, my boss told me, but the league is asking us for this and so on because on our individual accounts, we can't post images. Because of the copyright issue, well, at least if they have to punish me for this, let them punish me for something. But we've told the truth, which is what matters, right? Okay, this is another one. Watch out. The next day, a definitive shot confirmed Luis Suarez committed a foul. Spanish media noticed, and beIN Sports USA shared this image not seen in Spain. It shows that the Uruguayan touched Collar's hand before hitting the ball. Indeed, this was the image they used. They had already cut that replay of Messi's shot before that goal. Okay, let's move a little faster. November 2020 hair pull on Marcelo. The Alaves defender pulled the Brazilian's hair, but neither the referee nor Gonzalo y Gonzalez in the VAR room called it. The CTA explained that the VAR did not have access to the footage when Marcelo was grabbed by the hair in a brutal penalty, and Velasco Carvalho said no, that they didn't have the hair pull on Marcelo and they didn't receive the footage in the VAR. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Another one. This one's incredible too. November 2020. That happened the same month, man. In a league where Madrid lost by 1 or 2 points to Atleti, the 2021 season, they call a handball on Sergio Ramos, and there was a previous handball by Valencia's Musa, but it was practically unnoticeable. But it was a handball, and it hit the Valencia player before Ramos's handball. It hit the Valencia player here. It wasn't seen either. It wasn't seen because it was a much more only visible when zoomed in after the match. December 2020, Umtiti's handball. With 1-1 on the scoreboard in the last match day, VAR reviewed a possible penalty in favor of Levante, a handball by the FC Barcelona defender. It was reviewed for several minutes, but without rear camera angles, the penalty was dismissed. Well, after all that, I don't understand it with the number of cameras there are at Camp Nou. This is what the Levante coach was complaining about, and then an image later surfaced where Umtiti's handball could be seen more clearly, and VAR didn't have it. All right, let's go to May 2023, a famous image. And also, this later reached the regular courts, the bias in the footage from the match between Real Madrid and Valencia. When Vinicius was grabbed by the neck here by Hugo Duro, in fact, it was Hugo Duro who did it, and then Vinicius tried to defend himself. He did this to Hugo Duro, and that's why Vinicius was sent off. They had cut the footage where Hugo Duro was grabbing him. To the people in the VAR room, sorry for expressing it that way. The VAR says these images are biased. Okay. And this was later in the match between Espanyol and Atlético de Madrid, where something similar also happened. A judge claims that the VAR hid footage and harmed Real Madrid and Espanyol. If Madrid goes after the Mbappé case in the same way, through regular courts, they'll surely win again. Penalty from 2026 Courtois penalty. Well, this was just recently, just a few days ago, some footage that came out afterwards and in which the VAR probably wasn't used. The VAR wasn't used. They could prove that Courtois got to the ball, planted his foot on the grass first, and they'll allow the controversial play to be interpreted differently. It's true that you can see how Courtois got to the ball first, got there first. Let's see, since it wasn't that long ago, but no. He planted his foot on the grass first, right? He planted his foot on the grass first. And then it was Budimir who put his foot under the Real Madrid goalkeeper's foot. And the last one is from the other day. So there are many, many in recent years that make us think, well, like we always say, right? Very bad about it. And then people here say more, right? About penalties, like that push from Isi to Camavinga, for example. We've seen all kinds of those. And what a coincidence. What a coincidence that it's always with Real Madrid. Anyway, that's it, guys. Hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great Sunday. Bye.